All right, continuing our discussion on the development of the federal government and the centralizing of it, we'll be looking at Alexander Hamilton. Um, so, in doing so, we want to look at his economic philosophy, sometimes referred to as Hamiltonian economics. It's been referred to as trickle down economics, supply side economics, Reagan economics. So, we will flush that out and see what the intricacies and why he supported this. And then we'll look at his report on public credit and his report on the National Bank, what that had to do with trickle down economics, and how he felt that would produce a strong and vibrant country with a viable future. That is. So he was a great admirer of Great Britain's economy and how it was produced. So he looked at their models, and instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, he was just going to use their wheel. Hamilton's government policies supported the wealthy because, in his view, human nature made him terrified of total democracy. Just remember what democracy means. Demos is the people, right? And Krasi, government. So this is government of the people. He assumed that in a Republican society, the gravest threat to political stability was anarchy rather than monarchy. He felt the common people lacked the ability to govern. Any attempts by them to rule, or for the governments to rule in direct interests, would only, as he put it, exciting their jealousies and apprehensions to throw affairs into confusion and bring on civil commotion. The best hope for survival of the Republic, Hamilton believed, lay with the country's moneyed class, the rich, the wealthy. If the wealthy could be persuaded that their economic self-interests could be advanced or made less insecure by the central government, well, they naturally would support it and bring a greater measure of prosperity for the common people, so that it would trickle down, in other words, right? For Hamilton's perspective, there was no conflict between private greed and public good. One was the source of the other. So what we have here is just a graph showing trickle-down theory versus grassroots theory. Grassroots theory, sometimes referred to as Keynesian economics. So it basically works this way. You have government support for wealthy individuals and big business. So you give them in this form of tax breaks, subsidies, building them infrastructure like roads, canals, whatever the case may be, universities. But giving them tax breaks, giving them incentives, giving them proper infrastructure will encourage them to voluntarily invest in the economy by producing factories, businesses, stores, agriculture, farms. And in doing so, this creates new jobs and more new businesses and more jobs for the common person. And in turn, the common person gets purchasing power. And then this in turn stimulates the business and creates more profits, and it creates a bigger tax base to support the government. All right? So this becomes just a nice little circle. And this is all theoretical, by the way. It doesn't work, and it works in some cases, and it doesn't work in other cases. It's just theoretical economic model. But the theory is, it's a sound theory, and it makes logical sense. And again, in some cases it does work, but the problem, like with any political theory, is that some people believe it as an ideology and as a way of science, as a form of political science that can be measured, and if implemented properly will always work. The opposite of this is grassroots theory or Keynesian economics. And what happens here is the government goes into debt. In that debt they give to the common person in the form of welfare checks, subsidies to go to school, maybe small interest loans for businesses, whatever the case may be. But the money is going to go directly to your everyday working class person. And in doing so, they have money in their pocket immediately from the government. That's going to stimulate business. This is going to create more profits. It's going to, in turn, move towards wealthy individuals and big business. They're going to invest, create more jobs, and then it will circle into the common man for more purchasing power. And so both are theoretical, both work in theory. Sometimes they work in practice, and sometimes they don't work in practice. Regardless of the theory, during bad times, you do want to spend more money, whether it is directly for big business or the wealthy or for the common person. You want to cut taxes and to create jobs. Is basically in this fiscal policy, this is what we're looking at. During good times, you gradually want to raise taxes as the economy improves to lower the government debt, right? That was incurred. This, and again, this is all theoretical. The lowering of the debt obviously doesn't always work if you take a look at our national debt. All right, so that's trickle-down theory. This part right here, this is what Hamilton firmly believed, this nice little circle here. And so I'll see you again, and we'll talk about his report on public credit in the next learning objective.